The president sending Congress into a tizzy today, pulling the plug in the 11th hour on Jay Clayton's confirmation hearing for Director of National Intelligence. And for the cherry on top of it all, in President Trump's words, quote, to add a slight bit of intrigue, but for the good of the nation and the people of our country, I will not approve FISA without the Save America Act going along with it. Not complicated. Actually, the Republicans fell into a trap.
Well, it's causing quite a bit of drama on the Hill, and who better to break it all down for us than Fox News chief congressional correspondent Chad Pergram, who is live with the details. Good evening, Chad.
Brian, good afternoon. President Trump said he was canceling the confirmation hearing of DNI nominee Jay Clayton, but that call is up to the Senate. No one knew for sure what was going on or if Clayton would testify. Are we going to have an Intelligence Committee confirmation hearing today? Do you know the answer? Do you think the president overstepped his bounds saying he was canceling the hearing? Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Tom Cotton finally canceled the hearing after the president blocked Clayton from appearing. It was believed that speedy confirmation of Clayton would unlock Democratic votes to pass FISA Section 702. That's the nation's leading anti-terrorism program.
We had a path forward as of yesterday, and today we don't. And that's because of this president and his advisors. It is an incredibly valuable tool that Donald Trump doesn't seem to care about. And he's completely messed this up.
Democrats don't want housing czar Bill Pulte to serve as acting DNI. The president also says he will not sign a renewal of FISA unless Congress passes the Save America Act.
So if we actually voted up here based on what the American public wanted, this would pass in a heartbeat.
But passage of that bill is unlikely. The Save America Act failed to get a simple majority on 2 previous test votes, and it can't overcome a filibuster. Guys, back to you.
Chad Pergram, thank you very much. All right, joining us now, Fox News Sunday anchor and Fox News chief legal correspondent, Shannon Bream. Shannon, very good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, Brandon Dagan, always good to see you guys.
I'm looking at all the ingredients in this soup on FISA. I see James McDonald's name. I see Clayton's name. I see you got FISA in there, Save America Act. It sounds like it's gotten more complicated as the days have gone by. What do you make of it?
Yeah, and I mean, Chad's reporting excellent. He's probably talked to a lot of the same people that I have, and there's so many senators on both sides of the aisle who are increasingly frustrated about this whole situation because they thought they had a deal. Like they were going to move forward on Jay Clayton, and I've talked to D's and R's who both had good things to say about him, or at least open to voting for him, and looking forward to a relatively swift confirmation process, nomination process. They were on board. So overnight, when this Truth Social post comes in, you got to think the way that that landed at Senate Majority Leader John Thune's office was with a thud. This guy has been trying to get what the president wants done across the finish line, but it's increasingly feeling like the president, in his efforts to get these things done, are only making Thune's job harder.
Shannon, because Jay Clayton broadly, and I know people who know him personally, but was seen as, for DNI, as much as with respect to Bill Pulte, Pulte was seen as a when he was named interim DNI. Jay Clayton was seen as a heck yes. Let's pass this nomination. Let's get this nomination through. It just seems like the works got gummed up.
Yeah.
Maybe unnecessarily.
Yeah, and the way that you lay that out, it almost reminds me, if you guys remember when we first heard that the Attorney General of the United States was going to be Matt Gaetz, and there was a complete freak out in Washington. And then they're like, nope, it's going to be Pam Bondi. And it was a much smoother sailing for her at that point, because I think both sides of the aisle were like, okay, this is somebody that we can talk through. There was a lot of bipartisan angst about Matt Gaetz, and I've heard that about Bill Pulte too. Not that people don't think he is a sharp, intelligent guy who is very supportive of the president, but he doesn't have what the statute requires, which is deep national intelligence and background. Now, you know, when I talked to Senator Warner about this a couple weeks ago, he said to me, I don't want Bill Pulte to be DNI for one day, not acting DNI. He seemed much more happy about Jay Clayton and that moving forward. So again, for the president to now say this all kind of links back to the Save America Act, and he's just making it tougher for GOP senators by saying, okay, I'm not going to solve your FISA problem with Jay Clayton unless you give me the Save America Act in some way attached to FISA. I'm not going to sign it. So they want to get the president's, you know, things across the finish line, and that's what they say to me constantly. And I'm sure they say to the White House too. We want to help you, help me help you. You know, think of Jerry Maguire. But if you make it tougher for me to get my job done, I can't give you what you're asking for. And right now they say there's just no way by the numbers they can get Save America Act across the finish line.
All right, Shannon, I saw an article in the Wall Street Journal, and I thought you're the only person I can ask this question to. It's about our founding fathers and how much alcohol they consumed and why that matters to this Supreme Court when they're trying to make decisions on gun rights cases. Tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, I love that you flagged this. So one of the cases we're waiting on, we get another batch of opinions tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, and we're waiting on all these biggies. But one of the ones is a gun case, and it's about whether federal law can ban people from gun ownership if they have substance abuse problems. It's more aimed at the language seems to be like drug addiction, that kind of thing. Well, Justice Gorsuch was one of the justices who during the arguments brought up, like, listen, a lot of the founders, they liked their tipple. They liked their whiskey. These guys were not known to be teetotalers. So then it gets into this whole conversation about who among the founders liked to drink. I think it was Thomas Jefferson that one of them pointed out, like he said he didn't really drink that much, maybe 3 or 4 glasses of wine a night. So yeah, when you're looking at historical precedent, which is what they were trying to do there, you do look back to the past, and that ended up in a conversation about who among the founders liked to drink what and how much.
Jay, I love the phrase habitual drunkards.
Right. That's a little harsh.
The states commonly passed laws that restricted the rights of habitual drunkards. And fellow Virginian James Madison used to just drink a pint of whiskey a day.
He was not a big guy either.
And Adams had a tankard of hard cider at breakfast
For
every
breakfast,
morning.
a tankard. Just that word makes me feel like I would feel terrible all day. Like I get a headache and a stomach ache just listening to the amounts they were consuming. But apparently that's all on the record, and it's now on the record for the Supreme Court argument too.
Well, it's what happens when you're originalist. You go back to the era and you
beginning.
find out what they were thinking.
Exactly. We'll find out what they're thinking tomorrow on all kinds of things, from
Okay.
birthright citizenship to executive power to fire a Fed board governor, maybe as soon as tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
Excited.
Can't wait for your commentary, Shannon
Yes.
Bream.
See you then,
Thanks for
guys.
joining us. Good to see you.
Thank you.